Hi everyone and welcome. I'm Diane and my passion is painting and creating nature-inspired watercolours in my studio, which are easy for you to do too. I share all my paintings with you on YouTube, and on our website dianeantone.com you can find free downloadable sketches for all the videos to help you make the most of your painting journey. And if you'd like a little bit more, we also have channel memberships with loads of perks for you to enjoy. So welcome on board. Click subscribe and turn on notifications, and let's learn to paint watercolour. Hi everyone, welcome to my studio. Diane here. Today we're going to do a little two-dimensional, if you like, landscape, which is going to be really, I think, quite enjoyable for those of you who like a little bit of easy drawing and colouring in. And I'm using a piece of Hahnemühle bamboo mixed media paper here, but any paper will do as long as it takes your pen. Don't want something too rough. This is a Pigma Micron 0.5, which is a kind of medium thickness, and that will probably work quite well. Now, this is one we did before, and people quite liked this, so I thought I would take that one step further, and we're going to do something a bit like this. Watch it as it goes by. This is going to be a lot easier than it looks. So we'll start by sitting ourselves down and checking that the camera is in the right place. Like I said, this is Hahnemühle bamboo mixed media paper. I'm going to buy myself a pad of this because I think it's pretty flexible paper. I'm going to use my A Gallo Signature 1 and Signature 2 sets of watercolour paints, because the reason why I like these is because the colours are strong and true, and without any mixing you can pick up quickly, if you want to work quickly, a really good range of greens, and all the colours go really nicely together. I actually, just thinking about it, I just did a colour circle in my 365 Days of Art book, which I think if you work your way through this book, you don't need me, because it will teach you an awful lot of things that you need to know. And I'm working my way through it, and I'm actually enjoying what I'm doing quite a lot. So anyway, I got to this page, and she says, do a colour wheel. And so I just went round the colours on here, one by one. I didn't pay much attention to what came next, and I've got myself what I think is a pretty good colour wheel, which is easy then as reference for what colours I've got in my Gallo set. So that's on page 24, and well worth doing. And we're working on this. We're getting, there's another butterfly now. I've got one butterfly more done, and I did that this morning. So that was my wake-up call this morning. It's a great book, actually. I'll put a link below and suggest if you want some kind of, a course. It's free, for goodness sake. It's basically a free painting course. Okay, so let's put those out the way, and I will grab my pen and get started. Might need a pencil as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is to give myself a box, and I'm going to take up pretty much the whole height of the paper, and but not the whole width. And we sort of have a just off square like that. And then we're going to launch in with the pen. If you want to do it in pencil, that's fine. But I'm going to start at the top, just here, about an 1/8 or a 1/10 of the way down. And I'm going to give myself a hill. And then I'm going to give myself another hill over there like that. And then I'm going to put the sun in there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the road, there's a road disappearing behind the hill, and I'm going to bring that road down like this, making it slightly wider as it gets towards you. And then that road is going to go around this way, then it's going to go straight up into the distance there. And then there's going to be a junction here, and this road is going to come down here like this, and it's going to come towards you like that. And then this is a corner, and that's going to come down here like that. Then we have a little side road here, and then that's going to come down like this. Come along here, then we're going to have a little side road, and then it's going to join up there. So that's our basic structure for our two-dimensional landscape. Now you've got two options here. You could either colour in the grass basically on these three areas, or you can fill in all of your features. And what I did when I did the other one, the one that's my practice one, I did the features first. So I think probably I will do that. And so here we go. We're going to put a house down here. And we're not going to worry too much about size or perspective or anything. Just whatever you feel, whatever comes to mind. And literally ignore everything you ever were told to believe about perspective. And just you think Zentangle, fill in the gaps. Just let yourself go. Nice, lots of parallel lines and whatever comes to mind. Because we're doing patterns, you can put, for example, something like that up the side of the building. What's fun about this is just every single thing that you can think of to do to anything, you can pop it in, if you know what I mean. And so we can have overlapping field shapes like this. And then back here, I'm going to put some beehives. Some bees. Whatever your imagination can come up with is basically the thing. So we'll have a tree here behind the house. And this little road here was going to lead to a little cottage. So we'll just do a little cottage with a whimsical roof like this. And a little, perhaps, side outhouse kind of thing. And a chimney. And then we're going to do a washing line to post in the garden. And a laundry. And a tree. And we'll put some flowers in the garden. This is an absolutely fantastic project to do with children, obviously. Kids would love it. I'll put a little cat here. And then I'm going to put a fence and a gate. And we'll have the fence going up here like that. And I'm going to put a sheep or two. Very easy to draw. And then here we're going to have another little house. And don't forget the chimney. There's perhaps some smoke on some of them. And a nice tree like that. We were talking yesterday, me and Tamsin, about drawing, and I said some people think they can't draw, but I think everyone can. It's just that some people have been perhaps prevented by things that have happened in their lives. But I think everyone has the ability, the same as we have the ability to breathe and speak, make noises, and so on and so forth, because drawing was the original way of communicating when people couldn't hear each other, or if they spoke a different language or something. So everybody in, really, really, really long time ago, everybody was able to do something to convey meaning. Think about the Egyptians and the way they carved stone in order to convey meaning. I believe everyone can draw. It's just that everybody doesn't. Nice little hill there with a couple of apple trees on, and the apples are falling onto the hill. I'm going to call this my home village. And then up here we have another little path coming off. And we're going to put a church in here with a tower and whoops, that's kind of gone wrong, hasn't it? Everyone can draw. If something does happen like that, and you've put the road in the wrong place, or you made it too long or something, just cover it up with Mr. P.H. Martin's proprietary bleed-proof white, and solution is had. There we go. And I'll put the windows in there later. And so I think we have a few more sheep in here. When you do your sheep, make sure their heads are down, because sheep do nothing except eat. I can vouch for that. So always make their heads down. And oh yes, mustn't forget their ears, which they do have. Some of them have horns, but not all. Okay, so we have our road going along here, which has the occasional bit of interest on it. And at the corners, I've been sort of putting spirals and things to go around the corners, and maybe some parallel lines like this, curvy ones. Perhaps just some paving stones again like that, perhaps. And you could do something like this as a present for somebody if they were moving to a new house or leaving an old house, and it would commemorate all the features in their landscape. That's what I'm trying to do here. I mean, one of the things we have here is telegraph poles. They're ugly things, but they do exist, and they're very handy if you happen to be a swallow. So I'm going to put swallows on here. This time of the year, they're just starting to perch. Now, I'm going to put a car here. This is like an old-fashioned Postman Pat car. Those of you who are from England will remember Postman Pat, and I'm sorry, I don't know what the equivalent is in America. But we'll just do a little car like that. And like I said, if you've accidentally put a line in somewhere where you don't want it, just come in with Mr. White. I'm going to call this Walter. Come in with Mr. White and get rid of it. Bit more road surface there. Anything like that you want to do. Okay, so we've got the road coming round here. Comes round the corner and up like that. And we've got the road coming down here. And so we need to just do a bit more texture there. On the road. And when you put the colour in, I think you'll be pleased. So washing line post there, in case you wondered. And the sheep are wandering around this nice flowery meadow. Okay, so we've got our birds on the line. Okay, now behind here we're going to put some cows. So we'll have some cows. Put their ears and their horns. That's the cow's head. And then her body is going to go up in the back, like that. And her leg like that, and like that, sort of. Udders, and legs, and tail. And then nose, and eyes. That'll make her legs a little bit longer. And some patches on her. And she's got to have a friend, hasn't she? Perhaps that's her daughter, the two cows. And obviously they need a tree. And behind them, I think we're going to make the field boundary here. And obviously then we're going to need a hedge. Nice hedge there. And maybe another hedge here. Put someone in the car. And back here in the distance, we have a few more sheep, smaller than the ones nearby. But it doesn't matter if yours aren't. They look like little clouds. And then the road's going to turn around and go off into the distance up here. And we'll have another fence going along there, just to give a little vague idea of perspective without worrying too much about it. And another hedge here. Now along this bit here, I'm going to put some tall houses. And we're going to give them nice fancy roofs. And I'm going to put a row of them, so it's like a row of little fairy tale houses. And then one skinny one here. And right on the corner here, I had a desire to just put a little garage. I don't know why. So we'll just write garage on there. And he has big doors on his garage. And so here, then in that case, we need a car. Going around the corner. So the road goes up here. Behind the garage, we could have a tree. And then a little farmhouse over here, perhaps. Another tree here. And another one here. The flower. And then let's put in a ploughed field just by indicating parallel curved lines like this. And we make them sweep up a bit. And then let's have a little row of another orchard of trees or something like that, apple trees or something. And then maybe here we'll just do some spirals in this field. Perhaps it's growing cabbages. So we can do those a nice bluey green. Okay, so I think we've probably just put another hedge in there. So like I said, if you choose all the bits and pieces for your landscape that remind you of where you live or where you used to live, I think he probably needs a window in the back. And then you put it all together like this in 2 dimensions rather than trying to do all the perspective, then you'll have a really cute little result. And now we're going to paint it. So we get this paint box out, and we need a very reasonably small brush here. And so let's paint the sky. Just going to move that a little bit closer. And I want to use some gold. So I'll just pick up a bit of my starry colours from Kuretake for the sun. And we will put that round the outside edge as well when we're done. Okay, so this is where all the greens come into play, and I've got some greens here that I mixed before. So we're just going to, oops, there's a hair. Just going to paint each and every field a slightly different shade. of greeny blue. And we'll go round the sheep because they need to be white. And this is very, very good practice for proper paintings. Practice in blending colours, mixing colours, applying colours, learning how your paper works, because all paper is different. And you can just also play around with your colour scheme. You can, like I'm using quinacridone gold now to paint these little hedges here. And then I'm going to go back to a blue-green colour to go behind there. And then I'll come again with something like burnt sienna, let's say, for this piece of hedgerow. Okay, and then I want another green, maybe something slightly turquoisey for this, because you want to use pretty colours, you don't want to use ugly colours. And I would suggest that you try to mix up bluish greens rather than the acid yellowish greens, because they're more peaceful to look at. Bluey greens rather than yellowy greens, you know. So we're just painting all of this field behind the birds. You don't need to match the colours. You can have patchy fields because fields are patchy. And I'm going to stick with my gold colour for the trees, I think. I'm going to say, oh, look, it's autumn already. There we are. And over here in the distance, I think we'll have a sort of yellow, a nice golden yellow field, because that's ripe corn, let's say, behind the little farmhouse there. A field of golden grain. And perhaps we want to make the little farmhouse have a pinkish red roof, perhaps, and maybe blue. Then we're looking for a bit more green for these trees because you've already done gold in the background, so we'll make those ones green. And then this one, perhaps we'll do this one in burnt sienna. And then maybe a nice line of burnt sienna here, perhaps. Now we want to be careful about this field. What colour are we going to make the field? I think I'm going to do my cabbages sort of purple, like that. So this field is going to have to be greenish. And I think probably what I'll do, I'm making this up as I go along, by the way. I'm going to do stripes of different colours. Then as we get closer, excuse me. Okay, no, skip that. I'm going to go for the quinacridone gold again for the tree because, like I said, it's autumn. And these ones down here also. Such a lovely colour. And we make the trunks burnt sienna. Okay, and the garage roof is going to be burnt sienna. And the doors will be dark, nice dark colour there. This roof will make purpley colour. This roof will make burnt sienna. This one can be quinacridone. I'm going to leave the houses white, but we'll do the windows blue. Sorry. And then I'm going to do the doors red. Okay, so we're doing some greens here for the gardens of these little houses, hedges of the gardens of the houses. And behind, I think we'll make this kind of golden green colour. Just fill in the grass around those nice apple trees, which are going to have some red apples on them now, because I think they're dry. And one or two lying in the field, like that. And while I've got red, I'm going to paint Postman Pat's car, van, nice bright red, because every painting should have a good, strong red focal point, if at all possible. Oh, we've got another car over there too, haven't we? I think we must probably need to do that one orange. And then the wheels, darker colour. You likewise. Okay. The little cows are going to have some brown patches. So we'll put some brown patches on the cows, maybe their noses as well. There we are, they're happy. Let's come down the front now. Let's put a nice reddish brown roof on here. And maybe some of these pieces of field could be a combination of burnt sienna and quinacridone gold. Maybe here too. And behind we've got the nice white beehives sitting in a green field. So we'll leave them white and just paint around them like that. Just painting the garden of that house. In green, and change the colour a little bit, mix in something slightly different, maybe grey it down a little bit or whatever you feel. If you grey it down, then when you want to put your quinacridone in, that will contrast really nicely. So these trees here stand out really well against that quite subtle green in the background there. And carry on with the green around the sheep. And if you're thinking to yourself, I don't think I could do that because I haven't got that much hand control or whatever, don't worry, because honestly, it doesn't matter if your lines are shaky. It just adds character. And as I was talking the other day about a man who's an architect. His name's Ptolemy Dean, and he's just recently, not that long ago, published a book about the buildings of London. And he's painted them, drawn them and painted them all in the shakiest lines that you could imagine. This unbelievably shaky. And it looks good. So, I mean, nobody needs to worry. This is quinacridone gold and turquoise blue, and it makes a very nice green. And if you mix quinacridone gold with, if you mix burnt sienna with quinacridone gold, you get a very nice dark greeny brown. So for your trunks of your trees. This turquoise is a very useful colour. Not only does it look nice when it's neat and you've done it without mixing it on your painting, but it also makes very nice mixtures. Okay, so let me see. I wanted to make the roof of this one red. I'll leave that little house white, I think. Restrain myself from painting absolutely everything. The roof of the church is going to be brown, like that, nice and strong brown. And then I think we might put a little bit of blue on the walls and in the windows. And here we have a slightly darker little hill where the orchard is in the front. Paint those little trees, and then we'll come in with a little bit of red for the apples again. When you paint with so little water, you don't have to worry about the paper buckling. You don't have to worry about anything needing to dry before you can come back and add to it, because it's dry almost immediately. They look like a bunch of chickens. I'm going to turn that into a flock of chickens and give them combs. And then I'm going to give them legs. Just need a finer pen than that. Is this a point? Yeah, 0.2, that'll do. Didn't they? See, that just happened. They were meant to be flowers and they turned into chickens. Okie dokie, and get in there. Right, so this is obviously a thatched cottage. So it needs a nice brown roof, and I'm going to give it a chimney, and I'm going to leave it white. Nice little green tree, and maybe the field behind wants to be golden, perhaps another field with some crops. Or maybe they've got a drought like us and no grass for the sheep. But I don't want their sheep to go hungry, so we'll change the colour here to green to match. Little kitty cat there. And we'll leave the washing white because that's the colour washing ought to be, really, shouldn't it? And then we'll put some little bits of red. Pinkish red on these flowers in their garden. Okay, and we need to put some green here. Maybe we'll give them a green door too. And perhaps we have a little hedge here leaning up against the house. Okie doke. And now we are to the point of needing to do the road, so I might pick up a slightly bigger brush. And I'm going to do the road. What colour? What colour shall I do the road? Shall I do it lilac? Yeah, that's a mixture of various different colours. I don't really know how I arrived at that, but I just picked that up off my mixing palette there. And the interest in the texture of the road is in the scribbles, which is a nod to Zentangle, but I wouldn't dream of saying it was anything but maybe inspired by Zentangle. Just put a little bit of shadow in under the eaves, for example, on the houses, because why wouldn't you if you think of it? Don't have to. And the final touch, I'm going to grab my starry colours and pick up some nice gold paint, and then I'm going to go round the outside edge. This is a painting that you could do in the course of a few days. You don't have to do it all at once. And I look forward to seeing some of your versions on Facebook and the private group, because I think it would be really fun to do this, to sort of, this reflects our environment here somewhat. Maybe I'll just do a few rays for the sun. Yeah, with the cows and the sheep and the little cottages and little houses and the garage and the ploughed fields and the dry fields and the apple orchards. This is very much, let's get rid of that. This is very much where I live, in 2 dimensions, and what fun. If you enjoyed that, give us a like and subscribe. Don't forget we've got Patreon now and the channel membership on here on YouTube as well. And go over to dianeantone.com, our website, where we have a blog and where we also have a few products for you to buy, mugs and things. And you'll find the sketch for this if you want to use my sketch. You'll find the sketch there to download free of charge, no cost at all whatsoever. Plus there's a tip jar in case you feel like being generous and leaving us something to pay the milkman with. So I'll let you go now, and because it's nearly lunchtime, and I'll see you again soon. So bye everybody. Bye bye for now. Bye everyone.